When was your first time gambling?
What comes to mind is in junior high, like there was like poker, and there was this kid, Jeff, and he had this house that you could just walk up the hill from my junior high. And I was such a dork in middle school. That was like the worst time of my life. So these guys invited me to play poker with them, and I just got wrecked for my lunch money. Like literally, like I would like, my parents had this like change thing, and I would take like $3 out of their change thing and go play poker. And what year would that have been? 1975. So like I was like 12, 13 years old or something like that, playing poker, getting wrecked for my lunch money was my first lesson in gambling. And then, Vegas trips with a fake ID in the 80s, during college, I think it was the first time I came to Vegas, totally different city in 1980, 4 than it is today. And I used to live in California, and we would go to Vegas a lot. Like, we even bring the kids to the Aladdin Hotel, and, and my wife and kids would be down at the little pool, like in diapers, and I'd be down there playing roulette. Go, come on, 17.
Do you think it's hereditary that you have like a fixation with gambling that maybe is like, genetic to some degree? Or like there's a reason maybe you're drawn to it more than like the average person?
I don't know. I mean, I think gamblers are optimists generally. Like you're a financial guy. As I've mentioned, my son's been watching You Forever Speaks the World of You. I hadn't seen it, you know what I mean? But then again, I bumped into Bradley Martin at a party and didn't have any idea who he was at first, now I know, and getting hipper by the day, but you probably, think gambling is idiotic. Like, why would you do something that's a losing proposition, and that's a very logical approach. But gamblers are optimists. So they're like, yeah, but you could get this big win. And it's just, I guess, like any other, let's call it a bad habit. Again, if it's a bad habit, I'm not in charge of gambling. If people are like, oh, you promote gambling, it's like, then don't let casino, to put them all out of business, make gambling completely and utterly illegal if it's a problem. I'm not the problem. I want to go on record as saying it, but I think there's a lot of people who enjoy it. It's a rush, the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat. I don't know if this is a genetic predisposition. I know my dad used to like to play video poker, but he would play like 20 for 25 cents single line, and he kept a record. I found it when I looked through their stuff after he died, and he had a record of every royal he got, whether it was clubs or parts. It was so cool. Like, he was such a disciplined guy, and he never probably lost more than $500, $1,000, and he figured I got a free hotel room and some free meals, and it was probably worth it. Like, where we wasn't reckless at all, but I'm not sure if it's a genetic predisposition. Unless the Department of Government Efficiency eliminates it, maybe we can have the government do a study and spend millions of dollars as to whether people have a genetic predisposition to gambling. I don't know.
Was there a specific moment in time where you had some sort of gambling swing, positive or negative, that actually made a big impact on your overall financial well-being?
I think fundamentally I was taught good values growing up, and my parents were really good examples. So I pride myself on being reasonably responsible. Like I said, I only really had one time where I wasn't able to, take care of all my obligations myself. I had to lean into my parents for a loan, which I paid back. You know what I mean? So it's like, I would come out though, like I met with this guy, Steve Sear. He wrote a book called Whale Hunt in the Desert. He's a host here in Vegas, and he became quite famous. He's been on TV, he wrote a book and everything like that. And when I was probably 26, 27, 28 years old, like, not making a lot of money, I went to the Las Vegas Hilton, and he happened to be my friend's host, and he became my host. And he just, there was things were a lot different. It's not, now it's all computerized. Back then they had the power of the pen, and a host could just comp and do whatever they wanted. And he just gave me a $10,000 credit line. And that's probably the modern day equivalent of a $25,000, $50,000 credit line. Like, it was a lot at the time. And I remember I got hammered drunk and lost that entire 10,000 in one night. I was chasing whatever it was, crabs for that. It was a blur. It was like one of those montages in a movie, and you just wake up in the morning and you have these slips of paper, and it's like, I owe $11,000 because I lost the whole 10 apparently, and said, I need more. And he gave me a 10% bump. So he gave me $11,000, and it took me like a couple years of making payments to the Las Vegas Hilton to pay that back. And that was super painful. That's the only time I really actually got into any kind of like trouble gambling, but it wasn't the end of the world. I mean, it was painful, a few $100s a month payment and a lesson. But I would come and I'd get, like in my 30s, 40s, whatever, I'd come out, like a lot of people you see in Vegas, I'd come out for a weekend, lose $5,000 or $10,000. It stung a lot, but it was fun. I was at the Hard Rock in the 90s and, there were the great parties and you're at the Peacock Lounge and everyone was there and the celebrities and, it was a lot of fun. So I think it as an entertainment budget. I wasn't a golfer. I mentioned this before, but I think it's a good analogy. If let's say you lose $5,000 5 times a year and on your Vegas trips, that's $25,000 a year and you're a responsible, otherwise human being. I know people that spend $75,000, $125,000 a year on golf. I don't golf. I gamble.